I have, since my teens, I have had this really strong longing to meet, as I said it then, my life partner.
Mm-hmm.
That was the word I used then when I was in my teens.
Yep.
And a life partner to create together with.
Yeah.
So now I'm sort of a little bit back to what I was hinging at when I asked at Katarina's.
Can I word the question for you? If you've had such a longing for a life partner, then why have you not met him? And this is why you're looking at the potential answer of, he must have died. All right? And I suggest to you that there's other reasons why you have not met him. And in fact, one of the reasons is about this longing for the life partner. You remember, if you for example, get a book and write down a list of all the things I expect from my life partner, and put that as the heading of the page, and then write down all those things that you expect from him. Right? In the end, you'll probably find you'll fill up that page, and you'll probably be able to go over even a few other pages and have a long list of different expectations that you have. Now, can you see that every expectation is what we said ages ago now in this discussion, that they are about addictions? Now, remember we said if we're in addictions, we're not going to attract our life partner. So we can in here feel like, I wanted my whole life partner my whole life. Why haven't I met her or him? The reality is, no, you haven't wanted your life partner your whole life. What you've wanted is your definition of what the ideal partner is. That's what you've wanted. And that definition of what the ideal partner is actually your definition of how they're going to meet all of your unhealed emotions, and they're going to meet all of your addictions and expectations. That's the reality. And so the reality is, we haven't really longed for our soulmate in that place. What we've longed for is a man, or in your case a man, who matches the description of those pages and pages of expectations. That's what we were looking for. Now, the poor man comes along, and let's say he only matches 10% of those addictions.
Then he's not special.
That's not special, is it?
He doesn't even get a look in.
He doesn't even
It's
get a
just
look in
like,
now.
who are you?
He
Yeah.
might be your soulmate, but you can't feel he's your soulmate because you've got a list of expectations. Now, I put to many of you that actually your list of expectations, which are all driven a lot by what happened when you're growing up, right? And we'll talk more in detail about this after the break, what happened when you're growing up. And I put to you that all of these expectations all come from unhealed emotions and unhealed expectations from our childhood, but are often, if you think about it, exactly what our dad is, or the opposite of what our dad is, depending on whether we liked our dad or not. And this is exactly what our mum is, or the opposite of what our mum is, depending on whether we liked our mum or not. And as a result, we're not really seeking our soulmate. We're really seeking our daddy or our mummy, but just a younger version that we can have sex with. Now, it sounds pretty bad, doesn't it, when I put it that way? But the reality is that's really what is going on. And the reality is, unless we heal those expectations that we have about, what if the man came along and he was 5'3", and how tall are you, Anna?
I don't know
what's in centimetres?
176.
176, right? So you're about 5'9.5". And he's 5'3", so he's now 6 inches or so, shorter than you. And he doesn't seem like he can protect you very well. You're bigger than he is, right? So that emotional addiction is going to go out the window, isn't it? To have a protector for your life and so forth. And this is the problem we face, is that we often have we're so blinkered in terms of our expectations of our. And let's write it down, our ideal partner, not partner, that's really what we're looking for. And that is not the same as soulmate.
Well, the truth is...
No, in terms of... I'm referring to the injury-based ideal, right? The reality is our soulmate from God's perspective is our perfect ideal partner, but he or she does not necessarily meet the list of ideals we have. So that's why I suggest to every single person, one great exercise with regard to sexual attraction is to write down all of what you believe is ideal. I did this, I took quite a few pages to do that myself, and what I even did was I found pictures of women on the internet, like with the ideal face and the ideal everything. I put them in a folder on my computer, and I looked at it every day, and I'm going, why do I feel like that's the ideal? Like let yourself really experiment with it. Like find out why you feel these ideals are ideal. And in all of the cases revolving around myself, I found I was either avoiding sadness, avoiding grief, avoiding loneliness, avoiding my soulmate grief, and a lot of other emotions actually. And in the end, what I realised that I was in many cases doing what I'm just suggesting that just before, and that is I was looking for somebody who was like my mother in a younger version. That's all I was doing, right? And there is a lot of reasons why we do that. Because they are the emotional injuries we have. They came from that person, so that's what we were looking for. I identified with my mother, not so much my father, with regard to what's the ideal. And so therefore, the ideal for me at that time was that the woman had to be about 5'3" tall. Mary is about 5'6" or 7 inches tall. Yep. So Mary's not my ideal. Under those circumstances, Mary's not my ideal. I was looking for a shorter woman, and Mary's taller. Now, once I worked through the emotion, I then realised, hang on a sec, my soulmate could be 6 foot. What am I going to feel about that? Right? And, then I was open. Like if I was only open to the woman being a certain height, this is where these internet dating services are difficult, right? Because what you have in the internet dating service, and by the way, I tried that too, to find my soulmate. But what happens in the internet dating service is they go like, preferred height, preferred size, preferred this, preferred that, preferred, and all these preferences. Now, what I suggest to you is that you need to investigate these preferences. Investigate them and see them for what they are. They are addictions, usually, stuff that got created during our childhood about what our preferences are, usually addictions that were created in our childhood. And so we need to see them for what they are. To be open to our soulmate, we need to be open to all the possibilities. And I'm very, very glad I became open to all the possibilities. Right? Because without that, you can't attract the person. Or you might attract the person and not even recognise that they just, you sit down with them, talk with them for a couple of hours and go away and think, yeah, that was a nice discussion, but, that's not my ideal. And straight away you've just dismissed your soulmate, your ideal from God's perspective. Yeah. Shall we have a...
Yeah.
break?
Can I just address, who feels drowsy and non-engaged? Like...
Yeah? No.
Right, yep. Yeah, drowsy.
Can
yeah.
you just put up your hands again? It's okay.
Quite a few of the women, I'm noticing.
Quite a few of the women are feeling this.
I'm feeling the cloud descend. Like there's a lot of people disengaging further and further. And I'm primed to talk about shame and spirits and...
But we're not going to get to talk about that if you're already disengaging about the good things.
It's like, oh no, that window's closing now. Because I feel like everyone's sort of like, oh, yeah. So
can I suggest to you, these are women spirits wanting you to remain single or remain in control.
Yeah.
That's all they're doing. They're wanting you to remain single, remain in control of your life. When you enter your soulmate relationship, you will not desire control of your life. You won't desire your soulmate to control your life either. You won't even think about control.
Yeah, ironically, you'll be most in control, but you won't have this need to desire,
need to
control rather. Yeah.
Does that make sense to you? You won't have a need to control. You won't have a need to be single because. You won't have neediness projected at a potential mate. You won't have any of those things. Now, what a lot of the women spirits want to do, who are following us around a lot lately, is they want to detune every woman from ever attracting their male counterpart. Right?
And like, can I just encourage you all to get really real? Like, for me, this is one of the reasons that I really wanted us to talk about what is the non-injured state of sexuality and soulmate joining. Because for me, when I met AJ, I really did not, in my heart of hearts, sexuality was like, it was never going to be a joy to me. It was never going to be a joyful part of who I am. I really felt like, yeah, sex is something that I got occasional pleasure from, but it was not a beloved part of the expression of who I am. And that's how God intends it to be for all of us. And I feel a lot of us feel quite, well, I certainly did, and I do feel a lot of women feel in their heart of hearts quite despondent about sexuality, about the concept of joining. It feels fraught with fear and shame, and the potential of being controlled and harmed. And the reality is, as we work through this stuff, the danger of those things happening decreases monumentally. The danger of us being harmed or getting into a situation that makes us feel shameful actually decreases quite a lot. But going into this stuff, if we really feel what's inside of us, inside of our bodies about sex, how we feel about our sexual organs, there's a lot of heaviness that can shut us down from the possibilities. I did a channeling actually specifically about this topic yesterday from my guides, and they were encouraging me to remember that every one of God's creations in its natural state is to heal and to have joy. It's not only instinct but inevitability when we open ourselves to our emotions and to love. And so I just maybe want to inspire you a little bit to get real, because it really took me getting very real about what I felt about sex, the rage, the shame, the fear, and I'm still in that process, but it's very rewarding, and it doesn't feel like my sexuality is this dirty old rag that I'd like to hide from myself and everyone else for the rest of my life. You know, it's something that can grow and blossom and be beautiful. So, yeah.
Yes. Mike coming. Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'd just like to ask a question.
Hang on a sec.
Yep.
Yeah.
Some people are feeling drowsy. I'm feeling the opposite, and I've been sitting on the edge of my chair. Can you tell me why?
That's good. That's good. Well, you feel excited, obviously.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's a really good thing.
I feel very awake. I mean, the last one when you did the channeling the other day, I was knocked out.
Yeah.
But now I'm feeling very
Whenever
awake.
we feel shut down, that's the time to look and go, well, yeah, obviously
I've got some fear or some block to this topic. Yeah.
You obviously do not have much fear associated with this topic, and for that reason, the women spirits around who want to shut you down cannot shut you down on this particular topic, and that's wonderful. For many of the women in the audience, it's the opposite to that. They have a lot of fear and shame associated with the topic, and so therefore, you know, there's a lot of heavy women spirits who are in the same condition can easily shut them down as a result. Yeah. It's good.
It's lovely that you feel excited.
Yeah, it's good.